I'm Lexy Quance, and I'm 18 years old, and almost exactly 2 years ago I was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. Like the day after Thanksgiving, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't take deep breaths, I couldn't lay down flat, and so I got really scared. And I don't complain of pain, I'm used to it, cheerleading, all of that. And so, but I was downstairs laying on my dad's lap in the couch, crying, and so my mom was like, I can't take it anymore, we're going to take you to the urgent care.
When the fever rose to about 102 and the abdominal pain was really bad and she was having trouble taking a deep breath, and I called a local physician here in town, and he said, you know, go straight to the emergency room and I'll get some testing done. They did a CT of the abdomen, a bunch of blood work, and found that her liver and spleen were enlarged. So they gave us the option to be transferred to either the Children's Hospital in DC or go down to VCU, and we chose the Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU.
Dr. Sisler, she came in and sat on the end of my bed, smiling, was kind of really nice. She was like, so we have your results back, and not great news, but you have leukemia. And then I kind of just sat there for a second and took it in. And then I guess she thought that I didn't know what it was, so she was like, do you know what leukemia is? And I was like, yes, it's cancer. That's just what I'm trying to get into my head right now, that I have cancer. Like, I was completely shocked, didn't cry, wasn't sad, I was really angry, and which was weird, but I was very upset, like angry upset. And so people like my mom and dad tried to hug me, and I was just like, please don't, like, just give me a second, I need to get used to it. And then that lasted probably that night, but that was around 5, like I said, and maybe around like 11 o'clock I was fine. I was like, what do we need to do? That's what I want to do now. What do we need to do to fix this? Because I have more important things to do, like go to college and graduate and just be around my friends. I don't need this right now, so I just wanted to get what we needed to do done. So it kind of flipped really fast.
After we kind of started trying to put ourselves back together, the doctors wanted to start treatment very quickly and very aggressively, and what would follow on that next Monday would be the beginning of her first round of chemotherapy. So what we spent the rest of the weekend doing was allowing friends and visitors to come by, and that really gave us a small gap of time between hearing this very awful news and starting what would then become this long train of treatments, of life-altering, physically changing, mentally changing, psychologically changing treatments. So we had basically a 2-day reprieve that, you know, it wasn't much of a vacation because we were in the hospital, but it gave us an opportunity to have loved ones by and have friends by and let them come with us up to the hospital and visit with Lexy, and at least for those 2 days just pretend that things were otherwise rather normal, at least for her and her friends.
So when Lexy's treatment started that Monday, it started with a 10-day round of chemotherapy, and then to follow that for about the next 4 months or so, she had 2 additional rounds of chemotherapy, one of those being an adult level treatment because she wasn't responding as well as what we had hoped. Tons of side effects and issues came up, from insurance issues to complications with reactions to medications and treatments. But we, you know, the doctors and the nursing staff were so fantastic to us all during what was the absolute worst time of our life, not knowing exactly what was to come. But in the middle of all that, we realized that her diagnosis was not just acute myeloid leukemia, but she also had an underlying myelodysplastic syndrome, which put her in a different category of risk and put her in a higher risk. So our treatment algorithm kind of had to change a bit, and that's what sent us down the road of the bone marrow transplant, which she had in May of 2013.
Not too long after Lexy's bone marrow transplant, she started having some complications with breathing, some complications with her lungs, and she was showing some symptoms that something else might be going on. Somewhere between 24 and 36 hours of those symptoms creeping up, she was admitted to the pediatric intensive care unit, and she stayed there for
46 days.
46 days. She was in a medically induced coma, and When she went into the ICU, she started out on intubated, supported breathing, but her state deteriorated rapidly and consistently until I don't think we ever lost count of the number of devices that were in the room with her, but she was legitimately on life support. She was on ECMO, she was on dialysis, she had already been taken off of the ventilator and put onto an oscillator. And you know, there was an assortment of different medicines and lines, and an assortment of critical medical decisions that had to be made. And for a small amount of time that seemed like it lasted for years, it wasn't very clear whether she would make it or not. In fact, they were preparing us for the very real likelihood that she wouldn't make it through, even giving us single-digit percentage odds that everything would be okay.
You know, the situation in the pediatric ICU is if they round on you first, you know that you're the sickest. Your child is the sickest if they come to your room first. They came to our room first for a lot of those 40-something days we were in there. And because of the decisions that they made and how in tune to every single thing that they were doing for her, 31 lines going into her at one time with all very dangerous medications with very bad side effects, they made the right decisions. They made all the right decisions that made us able to bring her home when we weren't expecting to. And now in 2 days we take her to college, you know, to pursue a career in medicine. She wants to be a physician assistant, to be in pediatric oncology, to try to hopefully do the same things for another child that was done for her. So I couldn't be more thankful. I mean, and if she were anywhere else, I really don't believe she would be here today, and we would be able to make this journey in 2 days to take her to college. I just don't think we would.
And so I feel amazing, and health-wise, mentally, physically, everything, I feel great. And I had a biopsy in the spring that showed 100% donor cells, 0% cancer cells, and I had another one about 2 weeks ago, showed the same thing. So I'm doing great cancer-wise, and I just feel amazing. And I've gotten back to doing a lot of things. I'm so lucky to be home with my family. I'm just spending a lot of time with them and my friends. I'm getting to go out and do stuff with my friends, go see movies, just hang out and eat junk food, do what we used to do, getting back to normal life before cancer and after cancer now. And it's just great. It's indescribable, the feeling. And I've started working at the hospital, and it counts for hours at PA school, so I'm still on track for that. And it's just great. I work in the hospital with a bunch of physicians who are just amazing, and hopefully I'll get to work at VCU after college. But I'm just looking forward to a bunch of stuff, and it's just amazing to get back to seeing my friends and going off to college and starting to find new things that I like. Just great. It's a great time in my life, I think. Just amazing to me.